All right, folks, I got another mini album review for you here, and it is the new one from Cactus. It's called Temple of the Blues Influences and Friends. And as you can see on the cover, Carmine has assembled a group of guest musicians for this album. I'll give you my thoughts on what I think's going on here in a minute. But basically, they brought in a bunch of guys. They're doing they re-recorded a bunch of Cactus tunes, and Jim McCarty does play on a bunch of tracks on here. He'll show up for session work with Cactus, but he doesn't tour with them anymore. And then Carmine has brought in Jim Stapley for vocal duties, which I guess means Jimmy Coons is out. And I've been looking around. I can't really find any information on it, but it definitely appears he's not in the band anymore. I don't know if it was an amicable split or not, but it looks like he's off doing his own thing now with the Jimmy Coons congregation. So anyway, they brought in Jim Stapley, and he sings on a bunch of tracks on here. And he's done some work before in bands like Humble Pie and with Kenny Jones. So he's been around the classic rock guys for a while now. Supposedly pretty well revered. I myself have never heard of him. But that's just me. I'm sure there's been plenty of people who do know who he is. So my thoughts on that are, well, behind bringing in Stapley, who's a much younger guy, a much younger singer than Coons, who I think started singing with Savoy Brown in the late 60s, maybe early 70s, and redoing all these tracks, old Cactus tracks, because these are all the songs on here are from the first three albums, which would make sense too, because the last three albums are Jimmy Coons, and why, if they were planning on touring, is Jim Stapley going to sing Jimmy Coons tracks? I mean, if people are going to see Cactus and Jimmy Coons isn't there, they're just going to want to hear old Cactus songs. So I think this may be like a promo deal for a tour. That's the feeling I get. Let me just read off some of the names on here, people on here, because there's a ton of different musicians, and they're all listed different places, and you can try and figure out on the album cover who's there, but it's a lot easier just to read them off from some of the songs. Back here, Billy Sheehan, Joe Bonamassa, Bob Daisley, Randy Jackson, Phil Soussan, Doug Pennick, Ted Nugent, Tony Franklin, Warren Haynes. I'm only halfway through, so you can see there's a ton of people that they brought in to do these songs. Well recorded, well performed. It sounds good quality wise. The only thing is none of the songs are better than the originals, which you wouldn't expect them to be, but that's why I just wonder what the motivation was behind releasing this. And the only thing I can come up with is Carmine's planning a tour with Cactus, which would be great because I've never seen Cactus, and I'd love to see these old tracks performed live. But unless you're a die-hard Cactus fan like me, or a Cactus completist like me, I don't think there's really anything here that is necessary to have. Like I said, there's all the songs on here. There's 14 songs. The bonus track, I guess, is not on the vinyl, but then the bonus track is Guiltless Glider. But they already did Guiltless Glider on track number 3, so it would have been nice if maybe they'd done one of the studio tracks from Hot and Sweaty for the bonus track. Like I said, all the tracks here are from the first 3 albums. The entire first album is covered here, every song. And then there's a couple from One Way or Another and a couple from Restrictions. Like I said, it's good, but if you're new to Cactus, this is not the place to start. The place to start would be the first album and proceed forward. So with that in mind, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this recording, but there's nothing new about this recording either. It's basically just the new singer doing old songs. And like I said, the only reason I could think of that they're doing this at this time would be in preparation for a tour. But again, I'm just speculating. But that's my thoughts. Like I said, if you're a Cactus fan, you probably want to get it. If not, I would suggest starting at the debut album, because the debut album is awesome, as the second album and so on. I mean, I like all Cactus albums releases, even the ones with Jimmy Coons. They were all quality, but the first 3 are considered the classics. So 7.5 out of 10. New Cactus, Temple of the Blues, Influences and Friends. Have a good one.